The Paracave Podcast, proudly brought to you by major sponsor Jack's Pale Ale, exclusively available at Parramatta Leagues Club, Shannon Cooney from Glenmore Park Realty, BTZD Clothing, and the official media partner of the Paracave Podcast, the Parramatta Times.
Welcome to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. And now over to your host, Troy Warner, broadcasting live from the world-famous Paracave.
And yes, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. Troy Warner here, and it is Team List Tuesday. The teams have dropped for round 16 of the NRL. But quickly, before we get to that, if you are in Sydney on Thursday night at Leichhardt Oval, the supposed eighth wonder of the world, there is the New South Wales under-19s taking on the Queensland under-19s in a great game. That's the men's game. Now, 5:45 is the women's game between those two sides, New South Wales under-19s and Queensland under-19s as well. So a double header at Leichhardt Oval. Now, I won't be able to get there, unfortunately, but it will be on Channel 9, 9 Now, KO and Foxtel as well, so you can watch that game. I will certainly be watching the replays of that game, of those games anyway as well. Now, if you are looking to get there, I think there's 2-for-1 tickets deals somewhere. I think that might be on the NRL website, I think. So check that one out if you are able to go. But look, there was certainly, I watched this game last year. There was certainly some great talent on show and some future and also current NRL stars in there as well. So when I talk about current, Chevy Stewart from the Canberra Raiders, he is playing at fullback. Jesse McLean, the winger for New South Wales, he played for Penrith not so long ago. And up and coming, who will play first grade, is Matt Arthur from the Parramatta Eels in at hooker there. So there's a few names there that are familiar, but definitely there will be some future stars on show on Thursday night. Now, to the NRL, and it is a shortened round once again due to Origin 2, which is to be played on the 26th of June, 8:05 p.m, game number 2 in that series, Queensland leading 1-0. This game is going to be played down the MCG, so we'll do a bit of a game preview for that next Monday, perhaps. But anyway, it is a shortened round, so 7 teams having the bye this weekend. The Broncos, Cowboys, Dragons, Eels, Knights, Panthers and Sharks are having the bye. I think the Cowboys, they're having their first bye of the year in round number 16. Amazing, that one. So they are having the bye. So there is a few games on this weekend. There is 5 games on this weekend, and it all kicks off on Friday night. Dolphins taking on the Storm at Suncorp Stadium. Now, this will probably, I reckon, attract a big crowd there. Look, even though the Storm have got 2 players out to Origin, Harry Grant and Xavier Coates, and obviously the Dolphins have got their big names, Felice Kafusi and the Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow, out due to State of Origin duties with Queensland. So, but I can still tell you that this is a really good looking game, because these sides, these could be potential with those 4 names, even missing those 4 names, these sides look pretty good indeed. Now, the big news for the Dolphins is mid-season signing Tavita Pangai Jr., formerly of the Brisbane Broncos, he did a little bit of a stint at the Panthers and also the Canterbury Bulldogs as well. And then went into boxing. He is back in rugby league. He is named on the interchange bench for the Dolphins. He is going to play his first game back in the NRL in a long time. And he is back under the guidance of Wayne Bennett. So he's on the interchange bench, number 17. Look, the exciting news for rugby league fans, Trey Fuller is back at fullback as well, replacing the Hammer. So not a bad replacement for the Hammer. Obviously hasn't quite reached the Hammer stages there, but definitely is an excitement machine as well, as we saw against the Parramatta Eels in Darwin. And look, still a pretty good looking back line. Herbie Farnworth, Jack Boxstock, who can score some tries, that is for sure. Cody Nikorima and Isaiah Katoa as well at halfback. He's playing some really good footy at the moment. Jesse Bromwich, the captain, is there. Jeremy Marshall-King, who recently re-signed, I think it was today or yesterday, re-signed with the Dolphins as well. So great news there. And we generally, as I keep on saying from time to time, those players that re-sign with clubs with deals, they tend to come out and have a blinder of a game that next game. So look, that's still a fairly good looking Dolphins side. Max Plath at lock, Ewan Aitken second row, Kenny Bromwich in the front row. So that's a fairly good looking Dolphins side. Flip over the page and to the Storm, and Ryan Pappenhausen is back. So that is great news for rugby league fans and the Melbourne Storm. Ryan Pappenhausen, he's been out for a while, but great to see him back. Grant Anderson is in the centre position. Nick Meaney as well. Sua Fa'alongo, good to see him get a start on the wing. And why wouldn't you? Xavier Coates is on origin duty. So that's another pretty handy replacement to put in your side as well. Ken scored a try or two. Tyron Mishart is still the 5'8", with Cameron Munster still out. Jerome Hughes, he is the captain. Bronson Garlick takes Harry Grant's hooking spot, but look, it's still a pretty handy squad as well. So look, this is going to be a really interesting game. This could be, on the Friday night, the match of the round, I reckon. I haven't looked through the other games at the moment, but what I did see throughout that, when I quickly looked at all the teams for this round, this would probably have to be the best bye round of football that you can watch, because there is still a lot of, relatively full strength teams. There are a few players out, obviously, with a few sides, but some of the players that are coming in, they are just have the potential to be superstars in this game, and will put on a good show. Look, as I said, the Dolphins in 4th position on the ladder. The Melbourne Storm in top spot at the moment. And, this one is a hard one. The Storm, they always play good up in Brisbane, especially at Suncorp. They play really well up there. The Dolphins, it's one of their home grounds, probably their second home ground, I guess. Obviously, they've got KO Stadium there at Redcliffe and Suncorp, and they do have some game. Well, they did last year against the Parramatta Eels on the Sunshine Coast. I don't know if that's happening again this year, but look. I don't know. My tipping this year has been going just as well as the Parramatta Eels, who are down in 15th spot. So, look, I think it's time to start pulling my finger out, and maybe I might have to try and go for some upsets starting now. See if I can get 7 from... 7 games this weekend, or 7 teams of the bye. So I am going to go the Dolphins in this game. They just surprised me this year. They just seem to come out of nowhere and win the games. They had a great win against the Sharks last week down at Shark Park. The Storm had a good win against the Warriors over there in New Zealand, but that was with their full-strength sides. But in this game, I'm going to tip the Dolphins. There you go. They are the outsiders. Why not go the outsiders? The Titans and Warriors. Now, again, this is pretty much a full-strength Titans side. Obviously, Mo Fotuaika is out due to origin duty with the Queenslanders. So he was probably the big note there. David Fafita is still in the second row there. Kieran Foran is captain and halfback. Jaden Campbell again at 5'8", which is really interesting. Keanu Kinney at fullback. Cam Pereira, geez, he can score a try or two. On the other side of the page, the Warriors, they welcome back Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. How good is that? Back into that centre position. That is great news for them. Dallin Watene-Zelezniak is out. Unfortunately, Ed Cozzy takes the spot there for him. Tamari Martin and Sean Johnson in the halves. Pretty good, strong forward pack. Adam Fanua, Blake, Wade Egan, Jackson Ford, Murata Niokore, Dylan Walker, and Tohu Harris. So, look, they do have a few players out due to origin. One in Queensland for Kurt Capewell. And Mitch Barnett, he's in the I think he's 18th man for the New South Wales Blues. So a couple of origin representatives these days for the Warriors. Look, this game at 3 p.m. on the Saturday up at Seabus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. Look, the Titans, they lost to the Tigers last week at Leichhardt Oval. The Warriors, they went down by 4 points to the Melbourne Storm over there in New Zealand. Earlier this year on Anzac Day, the Warriors lost to the Titans, 27 points to 24. I think that was the Titans' first win in a long time. I think the tides might change from that game, and I think the Warriors will get the win in that one. The next game sees a replay, and when I say replay, it's a replay of the 2004 Grand Final, but these two teams did play earlier this year, and it was the Bulldogs who got the win over the Roosters, 30 points to 26 in that game. And as I said, as I keep on saying throughout these podcasts, throughout week to week, Team List Tuesday podcast, the Bulldogs are the most improved rugby league team in 2024. So they got the win that night at a core stadium. They were wearing their heritage jerseys in this game, I do believe. And they looked pretty good. Now, the Bulldogs, they will be disappointed with their second half. They were up 26-0 in this game at half-time and only scored 4 points. The Roosters won the second half 26 points to 4. So the Bulldogs will not be hoping of a repeat of that. If they get off to a start like that, they'll be looking like they can keep on going on with it. Now, this game is played at 5:30 on Saturday, and it's up at Industry Group Stadium up at Gosford. So the Central Coast there, it is a nice looking ground. It's a great area around there. Obviously, the Roosters have got a few players out. Michael Jennings to injury. Spencer Linu, Connor Watson, Angus Crichton to State of Origin duties. Struggling with my words tonight. Duties with the New South Wales Blues and Lindsay Collins with the Queensland Maroons. So a few players out there for the Roosters. But again, those players stepping in, it's still a pretty good squad there for them. So Terrell May takes the Lindsay Collins spot in the front row. Brandon Smith is back for the Roosters after serving that one game. I guess you could call it suspension from the Roosters of that not off-field incident, but he missed a team meeting, so probably setting examples, I guess, the Roosters. So he had a breach notice sent to him, and he served that 1 week. But he is back this week at hooker for the Chooks. And for the Bulldogs, obviously the big name out there is Stephen Crichton out of that centre position. So Jacob Kiraz, he goes into that centre position, and Jarrell Skelton goes onto the wing. Matt Burton, he must feel like he is one of the unluckiest players in rugby league, not getting a spot on this in this New South Wales rugby league team, State of Origin side. He will be playing for the Bulldogs this time. He wasn't even named for the Blues this time, so there's no dramas about him being the 18th man and not being allowed to play. So he will be at 5/8. He'll be out to prove a point this weekend that he should be in that State of Origin side somewhere. Perhaps he was maybe looking at a bench spot. I think Connor Watson may have got that spot over him, which was a bit of a surprise to a lot of people, including myself. I would have thought that Matt Burton would have got on that interchange bench, but it wasn't to be, so he'll be out to prove a massive point this weekend. Look, the Roosters, they had a win last week against my Eels, 28-18. And look, the Bulldogs' last win also was against the Eels. That's how good the Eels season's going at the moment. They will get the 2 points this week due to the bye. But both of these teams, their last starts were wins against the Eels. So, going to be interesting, this one. I don't know. I just think with the Roosters' experience that they have, and with the Bulldogs having Stephen Crichton out, who is a massive leader in this team, I just think that the Roosters will get the win in this one. James Tedesco back at fullback, Joey Manu still there, Luke Keary, Sam Walker, Dom Young, Jared Waria-Hargreaves, look, Victor Radley as well. I just think the Roosters will have more experience than the Bulldogs side here, and I'm going to go with the Roosters. The Rabbitohs and the Sea Eagles round out Saturday, Super Saturday, 3 games there. Accor Stadium sees this one, 7:35 p.m. The 14th spot Rabbitohs take on the 8th spot Sea Eagles, who just got into the 8 last week with a win, I should say, against the Dragons, 30 points to 14. The Bunnies, look, they are probably one of the form teams at the moment. They've had 3 wins on the trot. They are looking for win number 4, and they are slowly creeping up the NRL ladder bit by bit. They now see that they have come from 17th to now 14th spot. So they are slowly creeping up with thanks to those 3 straight wins. So the Rabbitohs and Sea Eagles. Now, Cameron Murray and Latrell Mitchell are out for the Rabbitohs, with them on State of Origin duty for New South Wales. Obviously, Daly Cherry Evans, the captain for Queensland, and Jake Trbojevic, the captain for New South Wales, are out. Ruben Garrick, I think he's doing serving HIA protocols, and Hamoli Olakawatu is also playing for New South Wales in State of Origin. Taniela Paseka, I think he had a finger injury or wrist injury in the game against the Dragons last week, so he is out as well. So for the Rabbitohs. Jai Gray, he's a little excitement machine, that boy. The headgear wearing fullback for South Sydney. So again, a good replacement for Latrell Mitchell. Obviously not Latrell Mitchell, but a fairly decent. If I was a Rabbitohs fan, I'd be happy with Jai Gray there. They've still got a very powerful, experienced half 5'8" combination in Jack Whiten and Cody Walker. Damien Cook is still there at hooker. Jai Arrow, Keon Kolomatangi at lock as well. So they've still got a pretty experienced side there. Sean Kepi playing against his old club in Manly. For Manly, Aaron Shop comes into the centre position to play, I think, his first game for his new club coming from the Gold Coast. Carl Lawton goes into the halfback role to fill the boots of DCE. Ethan Bullymore comes into the side, and Corey Waddell comes into the second row for Jake Travojevic. Nathan Brown comes in at lock off the bench, and Corey Waddell's in the side as well. Look, I think the role that the Rabbitohs are on at the moment, yeah, sure, they are missing Latrell Mitchell. They are missing Cameron Murray as well, although he only came back last week from injury. So the Rabbitohs did have a couple of wins before he came back. But the big loss for them is Latrell. But I just think that they are missing Latrell. They've got Jai Gray in at fullback. Manly, on the other hand, they're missing DCE, who can lead them around the park so well. Jake Travojevic, he's a tackling machine, and Hamoli Olakau'atu on that edge as well. So I think the Rabbitohs will get the win in this one. And to round out the round, we have a replay, I guess you could say, of some sorts of the 1989 Grand Final, half anyway, with the West Tigers taking on the Canberra Raiders. 16th versus 7th at Campbelltown Sports Stadium in Sydney, 4:05 p.m. Look, no one here is affected by State of Origin in this one, so this would be pretty much a full-strength teams for both sides. Lachlan Goulburn comes into the 5'8" spot. He's back there. Hudson Young, he did play in Game 1 of State of Origin, but he is now in the second row for the Canberra Raiders, so he'll be out to prove a point, that's for sure. Yeah, this could be an anything game, this one. I mean, the Tigers, they had that win last week against the Titans at Leichhardt. They were looking at their 10th straight loss if they didn't get that one. The Canberra Raiders, they were shocked, 34 points to 16 from the Cowboys. They had a Golden Point winner over the Dolphins before that, and then got smashed by the Roosters, 44 points to 16. So, look, I think the Tigers, as gallant as they were last week and getting the win against the Titans, I think the Canberra Raiders, I think they have more to play for in this one to try and secure a place in the top 8. It's very congested from 5th down to 8th. So a few results, they go either way, then they could find themselves out of the 8 with the Broncos and Cowboys having a bye. Also the Dragons as well, although the Dragons are on -50 for and against. The Raiders, though, they are the only team in the top 8 with a negative for and against, so they're on -55. So these bye teams that are below them, the Broncos, Cowboys and Dragons, they will overtake the Raiders if they lose. So, and if the Raiders lose, they could fall down as far as 12th or 11th position on the ladder. So this is a must win for the Raiders if they are going to stay in that top 8. So for that reason, I am going to tip the Raiders in this game. So just recapping those tips, I'm going to tip the Dolphins, the Warriors, the Roosters, the Rabbitohs, and the Raiders. So let's hope that 5 games, let's say if I get 5 out of 5 this weekend. As I said before, my tipping this week has been as useless and as disappointing as the Parramatta Eels this year. And the Eels find themselves down in 15th position. Well, in the tipping comps that I'm in at the moment, I am going just about the same. I am very low down on the ladders of those tipping comps that I'm in. So let's hope this is a 5 from 5. I can get back and get a perfect round, hopefully, this round 16. Now, enjoy your football over the weekend. I hope your team wins. I will be having the week off from Parramatta, as they had the bye this week, so that might be a little bit more enjoyable than what it has been. So I'll still be watching these games on the weekend, so enjoy your footy. I hope your team wins. Let me know if my tips are the same as yours or you're going a different one, and let me know why you're going a different one, and then we will be getting ourselves ready for game number 2 of State of Origin, the Blues and the Maroons at the MCG on the Wednesday night, and then on the Thursday night, this game's going to be a cracker too, the Maroons versus Sky Blues, the game 3, the series decider up there in Townsville. Massive week of rugby league next week, starting on Wednesday with those Blues and Maroons in Game 2, the Maroons and Sky Blues in Game 3, and then 7 games of NRL. So a massive week coming up there. So stay tuned for a preview of the Blues and Maroons game. Probably come out on the Monday, maybe the Tuesday. We'll see how we go. Hoping to get some special guests for that one. I didn't manage to get any last game, but let's see if I can get some for game number 2. Anyway, enjoy your football. May your team win. And look, the Rugby League is the winner on this weekend. I can't say go Para because they're not playing, but Rugby League is the winner on this weekend. So enjoy your footy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned to the socials for what is coming out this weekend.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Paracave Podcast. See you next time.